As I always say, the main thing that is missing from most people's lives is an authentic and true and real relationship with the Creator. What does that mean? It goes beyond Scripture. It goes beyond... Friends, the US dollar has lost 85% of its value since the 70s when a dollar decoupled from gold, and the government seems bent on continuing the tradition. From now until after the next elections, the government can print as much money as they want. The last time they did that, inflation went up 9%. This means one thing: the security of your future and your family's future is all in your hands. Make sure you freeze the value of the wealth you're holding. Invest in gold with Noble Gold Investments. Gold is the one asset that has proven to withstand recession, inflation, and just about all economic threats. Noble Gold Investments is here to help you if you want to invest in gold. You also get a 24-karat quarter-ounce gold standard coin for free. Go to noblegoldinvestments.com now. noblegoldinvestments.com, or simply call 1-877-646-5347, the only gold company I trust. Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing, and hitting that notification button so you'll get notified about new videos every day. Thank you also for joining us on the inspiredchannel.com, our brand new website and platform where we share all the uncensored, unfiltered content. I want to talk a little bit about paradigm shifts today and the absolutely unbelievable changes and transformations that we're seeing in the world today. There are so many intentions that have been set over a long period of time that we're now seeing these shifts happening in all over the place. People have really been wanting to see a restoration of the constitutional republic, for example, in the United States, a removal of all corruption, a free and fair financial system, free and open markets, a true healthcare system, natural, organic, pesticide-free, and nutritious food. Also, more and more people talk about birthright land, where every American or every family, and of course everywhere else in the world as well, should have a dedicated space to live on and own within that family, a couple acres maybe. We could go on and on and on about the important changes that are underway on Earth today. Of course, always competing at the same time with an ever-increasing control system. That's the duality. Those are the two timelines. The organic, natural timeline that we're so invested in, and the artificial AI timeline that others are so invested in. But the question is, for me, and has always been, how come that some people on Earth already live like that? How come that some people already live a free and abundant life and have access to all these things and have made that possible in their lives, while millions and billions don't have that? Is it true that we're victims of our circumstances? And should we simply wait for the circumstances to change, or are we the source of that change? And you know where this is going. There are two fundamental ways to look at life and to look at improving your life. The 3D matrix way is that you are ingrained with the idea that you need to physically manipulate your reality. You need to work hard and you need to just keep grinding, and eventually you will change your circumstances, which in turn will change you for the better. This is the old paradigm matrix system idea. The second, and actually the creative idea, is that we change ourselves. We heal, we change our thinking, we change our imaginative power, we change our vision power. And through those changes, and subsequently through the appropriate action that's connected to those inner changes, we begin changing our lives. First our inner state, and then our outer state. Of course, we also become magnetic for the things that we feel very strongly about and the things that we envision consistently. So this way has been hidden from the people for a very, very long time, and it's not been talked about. And where it has been talked about, it has been mainly discredited as a sort of a woo-woo movement, a new age movement. But this has nothing to do with any kind of religious connotation at all. This is actually how people have over and over and over changed their lives for the better. Now, you might say that, well, it's easy for some because they're born into wonderful circumstances, lots of money. I will tell you this, nothing is more common in my personal experience than a rich person who is absolutely unfree. The vast majority of rich people today that I know personally and have come to know are unfree people. They are literally slaves to their circumstances, even more, in my experience, oftentimes than those who have very little. Now, do we strive to change the circumstances? Naturally. I believe that everybody should do everything they can to improve their life according to their desires. But if we do not begin with the first and most important step, we're actually completely missing how this really works. And here's why this is important to me. Because what I'm saying to you, and what I'm in some ways even offering to you, is an opportunity that costs nothing. It does not require anything outside of you. You don't need to go and buy something. You don't need any other people for that. All you need to do is have a realization that ultimately you are the source of your experience in your life, and you even are the source of your circumstances. Now, there is a disclaimer here. This, of course, doesn't fully apply to children because they're not fully self-responsible yet, right? So there's a difference there. A 5, a 6, a 10-year-old, 12-year-old can't just step up and walk away out of their circumstances. And if somebody is in a violent or abusive situation, the first step they need to take, or you need to take if that applies to you, is you need to remove yourself from that situation immediately. Everything else comes after. But generally speaking, most people, even today, are still looking at what is going to happen tomorrow. Where is the positive signal coming from? When will the circumstances finally be better so your life can be better? And I would flip that equation and say, when will you begin making different decisions, setting different intentions, taking different actions, thinking differently, and watch the transformation that happens? Again, I'm only speaking from personal experience. I do live a very, very happy and beautiful life. I'm absolutely grateful every day for the wonderful experiences, for my beautiful, beautiful family, and for everything else, for all the blessings. I'm absolutely grateful, but if I'm honest, my life wasn't always like that. I went through some very, very dark times where I viewed life actually exactly from the opposite side of the coin. I was feeling sad, depressed. I didn't really see a positive way out. And most importantly, I was always attached to people or circumstances outside of me, and my belief was if they would change and if the circumstances would change, I could finally be happy and satisfied. Now, that took me literally to a very, very dark place and to the edge, actually, where finally through help that I sought and that I received, but where finally I could change my outlook. And this is at first a painful thing to do. Hey, Montana. This is at first a painful thing to do because it means taking full, absolute 100% responsibility for your life, for the good, for the bad, and the ugly. And then you might say, but I was a victim of abuse, or I was a victim of fraud, or I have been wronged in my life. And I'm not saying that this isn't the truth. What I'm saying is what you're doing now about it and with your life is still your responsibility and your choice. And when that begins to click, amazing things begin to happen in your life. Because when you take responsibility, you also acknowledge that no matter what happens outside of you, you can shift how you look at things. And when that pendulum swings over from the negative to the predominantly positive side, you have just shifted the trajectory of your life. This is really the key element in all of this. My firm belief is that until a critical mass of people has shifted internally into a new way of thinking, living, breathing, talking, acting, those outer circumstances cannot fundamentally change for the better, because the outer circumstances are a reflection of our shared intentions or shared visualizations. It's not the other way around. Most people believe that their life is a product of those outer circumstances, and that simply fundamentally isn't true. So what is it that we can and should do? As I always say, the main thing that is missing from most people's lives is an authentic and true and real relationship with the Creator. What does that mean? it goes beyond scripture. It goes beyond the prescribed prayer that you might have learned. It goes beyond those words that somebody else put in your mind. And I'm not saying these are wrong or bad things. I'm saying it goes beyond that. An authentic relationship is, at least on your part, a conversation that you're having with the Creator. My clearest intention for this conversation is gratitude. I simply express gratitude for all the wonders, all the beauty, all the love, all the abundance that is all around me. This is a wonderful, wonderful feeling for me, and I can feel how when I express this often, I can feel how more opportunities for me to see and feel gratitude come into my life. Does that mean that God will speak to you just like I'm talking to you, or you're having a conversation with your friends? I don't know how that will play out in your life. I can only say that you will get hunches, you will get feelings, you will get intuitions, you will get clear guidance. And that is the beginning of a new journey. Then you have to act on that guidance. The reason why I feel so empowered about all the things that we do is because I fundamentally know that it's not the WEF and it's not the WHO and it's not the UN and it's not some secret organization or not even some white hat organization that is in charge of my fate. I know that. But I also know that if we begin collectively shifting our energy, collectively shifting our consciousness, that we are beginning to elevate this whole level to a place where the circumstances begin to be wondrous again, where we will see more clean bodies of water, more clean air. These shifts happen from within. And I know it's hard to see when you're going through a rough patch. I know it's hard to see when you had a difficult life. I get that, but it's the truth. And wouldn't you rather hear the full truth and accept it and claim responsibility for your life than keep waiting for something that can never happen? And here's what can never happen. No matter how good your circumstances get, even if you won the lottery and if you were gifted all the beautiful things in the world, even if all of that would happen, it still wouldn't change you internally. You would still have to do that. Even if you moved halfway across the world, you would still bring yourself. You would bring all the unresolved issues. And so the paradigm shift is really within, and that's the empowerment movement for me, is because it makes us realize no matter where we are, no matter if we're sitting in a parking lot, in a car, in a truck, and we don't have anywhere to go, we don't have a roof over our heads. I've been there, friends. I've been there. So I'm speaking from personal experience. I still felt empowered because I knew, even in that moment, even in those very, very uncertain times, I felt something so deeply that I still was the source of any positive change that could come out of this. So some of my most difficult times in the physical reality speaking were also some of my most light-filled moments, because I simply felt it, because I had that connection. I felt, no, this is leading to a new path. It's leading to something very special, to a transformation. And fundamentally speaking, again, transformations usually happen that way. It's where a lot of times everything that you used to have in your life, used to see in your life, used to experience, will be first removed from you. It's kind of like you tear down the old and then you can build the new. This is where the moment that we're in. And so my deepest intention is to also make us all realize that all the wildfires, all the explosions, symbolically and physically speaking, all the fundamental shifts and horrific things that are going on right now, we have a way of transmuting them and even stopping them if we change our internal state. We're fundamentally designed to be in a high vibing state, to be in a state of natural abundance like every being on earth, to be in a state of joy. Every being in its natural habitat, in its own way, expresses joy unless it's disturbed by our actions. These are fundamental truths. And the true masters of the past and those indigenous people who were really in touch, they all knew that that's what they're trying to teach us, is that we are so hell-bent on manipulating this reality and on pushing the right people in power and on waiting for the next administration, the next president, the next Supreme Court to do the right thing so our lives will improve, that we forget that we are the source of all of that. And every single morning, you can begin your day with making a new choice. This is also so important. In this awakening journey, I have seen people that have gone from fast asleep to really, really awakened in a very short period of time, because it can happen one morning to everyone. They can have a deep sense of something is wrong here, opening their eyes, realizing it's something completely different than they were taught. These are the times that we're in. I think we're currently experiencing a limitless choice of possibilities. We always are, but now it's so visible, and we can choose a new way of thinking. We can choose to feel free, to feel abundant, to feel healthy, to feel fit, to feel connected, to feel everything before it happens in our reality. A feeling is something that happens inside of you, and even though you might fight me on this, but I'll tell you, everything you do in your life, every single thing you do, is because you expect to feel better when it's done. You expect to feel a different way. It's either to avoid pain, or it's either to increase joy or increase abundance or increase whatever it is that you want to feel. It isn't about the objects. Buying the new car is not about the new car. The new car does nothing unless you have a sense of ownership, or you sit in it, you enjoy the drive, you feel good when you look at it. So what is it all about? The feeling. Now here's a pro tip. The feeling is available to you before the experience ever shows up in your life. You can practice it. You can teach your body. You can teach your cells. You can teach your muscles. You can teach your brain. You can teach every little grain of you to feel that way, to make it a natural feeling. Guess what happens? If you begin to feel free and abundant, and if you practice that feeling, if you write it down, if you write your story, if you breathe it, if you inhale it, if you exhale it, if you exude it, it cannot be any other way that sooner rather than later, freedom and abundance will begin to physically show up in your life. There is no other way. I've never seen it fail ever before. It doesn't mean you shouldn't take action whatsoever. I do believe that. You have to take the inspired action that comes from that feeling. But unless you first start with that feeling, all the action will not really lead you far. And most importantly, it will not really make you feel better. Hence, a lot of miserable rich people out there. And this is the key of it all. And it starts with the connection, the relationship with God, the Creator. And everything that is born from that relationship will bear fruit. It must be that way, friends. It must be that way. And in my life experience, and with the people I've worked with and the people that I have the pleasure and have had the pleasure to meet and see their lives, it's exactly the same way. Those who are happy, abundant, healthy, and free, those who have those qualities in their lives, they all understand this fundamental principle. And some of them came from the poorest and most challenging backgrounds that you could possibly imagine. And still, they did not succumb to those circumstances. This is the moment that we need to meet. And I want to encourage you to make a choice today, not tomorrow, not starting Monday, to take one step in the right direction. Just one. Start with one step. The journey of 1,000 miles always begins with one step. And where's true north? You need to hear it, you need to feel it, and then just practice feeling that particular way. Whatever it is that you want first to change in your life, whether that's health, just start feeling healthy. If you're in pain, if you're suffering, I encourage you, do a breathing exercise. Do it until you feel at least short relief. You will, through breath you will. And that is your time frame to just feel gratitude, to feel health, to feel connection. Practice that. Make it a beginning. Same with abundance, same with a relationship, same with everything. This is where we're at. Collectively, through that action, through the feeling, through that connection, we make the paradigm shift happen on earth. And then all these things that I talked about, the free and fair systems, the financial system, the harmonious way of living together, the open markets, all of that will be a natural result of our internal states and our inspired actions. All right, Inspired Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. You know we love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back with you again very, very soon. Hey, John Nolan here. I'm so excited to share my new song, Faith in Me, with you. It's about the journey so many of us are on in these times. Go to johnnolan.bandcamp.com to listen or click on the link down below.